Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Since Dillian Whyte joined Eddie Hearn's Matchroom in mid-2016 with what was touted at the time as a multi-year agreement, according to the official press release, the brash South Londoner, he's been trying very hard to establish his credentials to challenge for a world heavyweight title. It hasn't always been an easy ride, often jumping into the ring on just a few weeks' notice. And that has been a feature of Whyte's tenure at Matchroom. For whatever reason, Eddie Hearn that is, for the most part has not been able to sign opponents in a timely way for the 29-year-old, which would give him the opportunity to have a full camp to focus on a known opponent. 2017, it was a bad year for this, with matchups falling through, and generally money was the prevailing theme coming from the prospective opponents. Or should I say, they were saying there wasn't enough of it being offered up. They were getting lowballed. And it had looked like it was going to be a big year for Whyte after his win over Derek Chisora in late 2016. And we ended up seeing Whyte squaring off in a hastily arranged clash for his American debut against faded journeyman Malcolm Tan in August. Then we had Robert Helenius. He was signed at short notice to face Whyte in October. Fortunately, Whyte was able to navigate both matchups easily enough in the end, but it wasn't ideal. And then when Whyte was bumped off the February 3rd date for this year at the O2 Arena, which he was meant to be headlining, I was really thinking, geez, this guy just can't get a break. It was at that point, and this was just before Christmas, I was thinking, Dillian Whyte and Matchroom, is it time that they part ways? Should he look to go elsewhere? It kind of felt like it was a bit of a situation, and it's kind of always felt like this to a degree, that he's been playing second fiddle, a clear second fiddle to Matchroom stablemate and unified champion Anthony Joshua. And generally he's been used to fill out Joshua's cards, and that in itself, for Whyte, who's a very proud guy, must be a little bit galling, especially when Anthony Joshua decides how much is in the pot for the undercard fights. So Joshua had control over ultimately how much Whyte was making when he was on a Joshua card. But I held off doing a video in December because I wanted to see where was this whole thing with Lucas Browne, the negotiations, where were they going? And then the second fiddle thoughts, they bubbled up again when Whyte himself accused Browne recently of trying to change the agreed terms. I thought, oh, this doesn't look good. But then bam, Whyte and Browne, it's made for March 24th. Whyte, he will finally get a good chunk of time to properly prepare for what shapes as a huge moment in his career. Win, and he's potentially in line for a title shot. But the opportunity, it is so much more than that. He will be headlining a show. It's his chance to have the spotlight firmly on him. He's the main attraction, not Anthony Joshua. It's his chance to prove to Eddie Hearn and the rest of us that he's not a spare part, and he's a genuine attraction in his own right. You may actually recall Hearn has put Whyte in this position before against Marius Wack, which had been scheduled for June 2017 at the O2 Arena in London, but it was quietly cancelled closer to the fight and an injury cited. So the word going around at the time was that tickets hadn't been selling that well. But now, having an opponent in Lucas Browne, who does appear to have good support in the UK, or at least that social media tells us this, that will help sell the card to fans, and it will bring punters through the live gate. He is a better fit promotionally than Marius Wack was. No two ways about that. This event just has a better chance to do well. He speaks English too. Wack does not. So if he can make money for Eddie Hearn, it bodes well for his prospects at Matchroom. Remember, Eddie Hearn has been putting in time, effort and money into Whyte for 18 months now. He will want to pay off for all of that. He wants to make some money off him. I mean, remember Whyte in 2017, so off the back of a journeyman fight and then beating Helenius, who was impersonating a journeyman, he still managed to rise to #1 in the WBC rankings. And you had that Chisora fight in late 2016, which would have helped in some part as well. But part of getting to #1 would have been the work that Eddie Hearn would have been doing behind the scenes, exerting influence and such, doing what good promoters do. The Browne matchup with Whyte is Hearn dipping his toe back into the water to see what sort of pull and commercial power Dillian Whyte now has. He would have seen the interest and disappointment from fans, and there was quite a bit of it, when that potential clash was not made in October, or for October. So Eddie Hearn must be confident, at least to a degree, that he can sell and make this event successful. And I've heard a few people say actually Whyte is on a fight-by-fight deal. I can't find anything to back that up. The only thing I could find was he was on a multi-year deal. And I think he must be on a multi-year deal because I'm not sure Hearn would be investing so much effort and time to line him up for a title shot if Whyte could just walk away at the drop of a hat. But say that Whyte gets past Browne and the event only does so-so commercially, or potentially it maybe loses a bit of money. If he wins, then the losing money or doing so-so, it wouldn't be the end of the world for Eddie Hearn, because you still would have an opportunity to get Whyte into a title fight and thus make some money off him, keep making money off him. If Whyte keeps winning, he stays golden with Matchroom, and Hearn will keep pushing Whyte at us. But in saying all this, the Whyte-Browne event could be a roaring success, and it probably will be to a degree. It's got all the ingredients to be a good matchup that the punters will want to see, and that would bode well for all involved. And Whyte himself, he has described the Browne fight, and this was in an interview to IFL TV, that this is the most important fight of his career. He's not wrong. It's very important for several reasons. The fact that it's a fan-friendly matchup, it should ensure it does well. But it is boxing after all, so you never know. Hopefully tickets are well priced and the undercard is a decent one. Sometimes with these events, the undercard, they end up being a little bit thin. And that's where, if you were going to decide to go, you might go, I don't know. So hopefully there's a couple of good fights on that one. What do you make of it all? Do you think this event will be a success? And Dillian Whyte, can he be a main man? Can he prove that he's not just a spare part and someone to be used to fill out an Anthony Joshua card? Do you think he is a headliner? Let me know. Drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.